You know we had to cap it off with Jesus. Edge life, you're too close to the ledge. We gon' push you forward a few steps ahead. It's that edge life. Oh, gotta get it in your head, baby. Welcome to the edge life. You're too close to the ledge. We gon' push you forward a few steps ahead. It's that edge life. Oh, gotta get it in your head. Welcome to the edge life.
Hey, live. Hey, welcome.
You're too close to the edge or ledge. Ledge.
I know you love the song. You know what I mean?
Don't go there again.
Don't nobody got a hot intro song like this.
I know, we hot.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. What is going on, everybody?
Hey,
welcome to the Edge Live Sunday Funday. Y'all know how we do it every Sunday. We come to you with the rawness, with the realness. You know, the only way we know how to do it. So, with that being said, I'm going to say, hey, if you have not shared this out,
please share.
Make sure you go on and share this out because somebody might need to hear this. And tonight, oh, buddy, I'm almost afraid of what's going to happen tonight because since we answering questions, our questions, their questions, I'm almost afraid because I don't even know what's going to be.
Mom's watching, so we got to be careful.
Well, that's another reason that I'm afraid. Well, my mama is watching, and you might, there might be something that's asked, and I might blush.
No.
No, it's going to be good. It's going to be good.
Writing with one hand. Let's go. Awesome. Yes.
That's right. That's right. My mama, y'all, had surgery on her hand, but she's still writing with one hand.
That's right.
That's all right. That's what I'm talking about.
So with that one hand, type some questions. So we need your input today. We're just putting it out there, just raw and real, answering questions of all the things that you've always wanted to know but never had the courage to ask. And if you are afraid to ask here on live, you can send them in Messenger as well. So send them to our Messenger also.
This is gonna be fun. I've actually been I've been thinking about this ever since we put it out because I'm like, oh man.
Ever since you put it out, you put us out there.
Well,
that's okay. I'm cool with that.
I don't mind us being put out there. I just
don't
either.
I'm
it's
good
fun
with that.
This. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's always exciting. So to just see what people are wondering or what questions they might have.
Yeah.
You know, we teach people how to lead well.
That's right.
We want you to live a full, abundant life, a life that is overflowing. And so if you got a question, we don't know everything, but we'll give it to you from our perspective and our perception of things, and we'll be real. And if we don't know, we'll find out. And we'll get back to you. That's right. That's just the way it works.
That's right. So before we get started, let me ask you how you been doing? How's your week? You know, we got to give the people what they want. Got to tell the people what's going on.
A recap of the week.
Yeah, what's going on?
It's been good. So, the organization that I work for is an affiliated or a member organization for an international organization called Clubhouse International. And if you haven't checked that out, definitely check out Clubhouse International. So, advocating for adults living with serious mental illness, providing psychosocial therapy across the world through the Clubhouse model, which is the most effective form of mental health recovery. Yeah, I'm just shameless plugging right here. Totally. And the organization I work for is Elevation House here in Rome, Georgia. We are the only Clubhouse modeled program for adults living with serious mental illness in the entire state of Georgia. So an honor and a privilege. And out of over 300 clubhouses around the world, the COO, Jack Yatsko, shout out to Jack, he's in Hawaii. Man, I'm jelly. He and his cohorts decided to reach out to Elevation House, and we are one of 5 clubhouses that are going to be featured in kind of a special opening of the international conference. So in video form. So I have been a videographer of sorts
this week.
And I have been, our members are all over the place. So I've been going wherever they are, videoing them. And these are just weird, strange times, y'all. So it's just all over the place. So I see some questions are coming in. That's awesome. So that's what I've been doing this week. This past week, that's what I'll be doing for the first couple of days of this week. But just such an honor and a privilege. And, basically we were picked because of the energy that we bring. You know, it's been tough times, and you know, we all need
always get busy
positive energy around us, and it's important to keep your mind fixed on whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are holy. So I know you had a whatsoever things are unholy moment yesterday.
What happened yesterday?
What happened yesterday? What happened was,
look,
this man right here, y'all, he has just, y'all pray for him. Pray for his strength in the Lord.
Yeah, I'll definitely take it.
Because when I went outside and the man he's just sitting in the middle of the yard. he is on the lawnmower, and he's, you know, he's just sitting there.
I was. So I will share with you all. First and foremost, this week was an eventful week for me. I actually had my first client this week that I've been working with. So that has been really, really awesome. Did a couple of sessions for them in just a couple of diversity sessions for them, actually. So it was actually really, really, really awesome. I enjoyed that. As Edge and Associates is actually going full bore, and you know, your boy's a full-time business owner and entrepreneur now.
Yay!
So so it's
doing
good.
It big.
Big
Willie style.
You can never stop good people. You know what I mean? So
here in the shorts with the collared shirt.
I had the business mullet on. You know, I had the looking good up top, and had the shorts
business
on the bottom,
top. But party on the bottom.
It was actually really cool because this was an international audience. Had people from Australia, Singapore, Hong Kong, you know, several countries, other countries like that. So to actually be able to facilitate to an international audience was really, really cool. Enjoyed it, and I'm looking for doing some more work with this particular client. So that was good. But as a new business owner, you know, just the mental game, it kind of goes up and down a little bit. So I got up on Saturday and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go out today. I'm just going to cut the grass.
Front yard.
You know.
Just the front.
Well, you know, but I was just like, I'm just going to woo-saw for a moment. I put my headphones on. I was listening to some
yard cutting shoes
my
on.
yard. I mean,
y'all know what I'm talking about.
The whole thing. And I get out there and I literally cut the whole front, and I'm getting ready to go to the side of the house, and you know, I got these noise canceling headphones on, and I'm whipping the lawnmower, and literally I'm whipping that thing around. I get around Carrie's car, whipping that thing around, and I'm listening. I'm singing.
He did a whip, and then
I happened to look up. I didn't hear anything because I had my earphones on. But I looked up, and y'all, a rock hit Carrie's back windshield and broke the windshield. It looked like a gunshot went through that thing. I was like, what came out of this lawnmower? But literally, I just sat there, and I was like, oh, my gosh. And I was like, wow, what else? You know, what else? But it was okay. So Tuesday, they'll be coming out, fixing the window.
This is not the first time, though. Like, I remember one time.
It's second time.
I was sitting at the computer, and I thought I was taking fire. Like, y'all, he slung a rock into the house, y'all. This man is dangerous on a tractor. He was not built for the tractor. He was built for the city. This here is a city boy, all right? If he had his way, the whole yard would be concreted. We might have a tree in the concrete, like a bonsai or something, but God love him. But, yeah, that time, I literally, y'all. Okay, and y'all know my career in the past.
Oh, man.
I was, you know, a deputy sheriff at the time, and I was fixing to do some sheriffing. I was about to return some fire. I didn't know what in the world was going on.
I could see my wife, like, reaching for a weapon, doing a forward roll, coming up like Charlie's Angels.
I did not know what was going on. Yeah, this is the Edge life. It does not get any realer than this. So if you're listening to this on, you know, podcast, now's your opportunity. Share this. Somebody needs a laugh. This is real stuff, y'all. This stuff really happens. Only in the Edge Life.
And Latasha just says, don't ask what else. And I retract my former statement, right? I retract that statement and renounce it. I will not ask that question anymore.
Because there are a number of things that could happen that are way worse.
But honestly, it's been
I'll
good.
take the rock in the car window.
We'll take it. We'll take it. It's all good. It's all good.
Yes, and this is why we use Dave Ramsey principles.
That's right.
This is why you save money. And that's what I told him.
Yep.
I said, this is why we save money. It's for these sorts of unexpected occurrences.
Exactly.
Because he certainly did not mean to hurt Pearlie.
I didn't. But I wish you all could see what the window looked like. Because if you saw what the window looked like.
It looks like nothing. It's gone.
Y'all would have been like, how
Shattered.
did you do that?
Every little.
It was all good.
Tiniest little pieces. Kids come outside talking about.
They did.
It's all gone. That's what car windows do when they get hit by rocks.
Cot came outside. Cot's like, ooh.
You're going to be in trouble. Mom is going to get you.
You're going to be in trouble.
Mm-hmm. He came running in. Kai, go run and tell it. Y'all, there's always one in the family.
Yeah.
That go run and tell it. We just ask Kai if something goes down. Y'all saw, if you're all friends on my particular Facebook page, y'all saw the case of the upside down leg on the table. Yes.
Yeah, we
had
an upside down leg on
the
table when Carrie came home.
Case of the upside down.
What happened here?
Table.
But Kai told it all. Told it all.
He told Aunt Saray. And she, y'all, who is in the healthcare track, this is what we have to look for. These are the kind of people that are going to be nurses and doctors when we get old. She didn't even realize she put it on upside down.
Backwards.
Only in the Edge Life, y'all. Only in the Edge Life.
Oh, crazy.
So I hope you all have found this entertaining. And we're probably going to find some more things, some entertainment.
Yes, we are. And we will just say, for those of you who are just joining us, tonight we're answering questions, pretty much any question. We're open. We have some that we're going to ask each other also. I see there are a couple already in the comment section. So if you do have a question for Carrie or myself, something that you've always wanted to ask, something that, I mean, it doesn't matter. It could be anything, right? So if y'all want to ask us a question, please feel free. Put it in the chat feature. And, I want to jump into this because this is going to be pretty good.
It's on and popping.
It's going to be pretty good. So you want to start easy or you want to just jump into it?
Let's just start at the first one.
Well, let's do it.
Y'all, I got this one hair. Hold on.
You gonna get it fixed?
Yeah,
you got it.
Let me get it fixed.
Come on, we good. You got it. All right. So let me get this question up on the screen so everybody can see it. But it says, what have been some of your biggest challenges to lead well as a biracial couple or as an interracial couple? Like, what have been some of our biggest challenges? To
lead well.
Yeah.
As an interracial couple.
Yeah.
I think for us that probably has to be from a church setting because that's where people see us. Co-leading. Yeah. Well, and I think they see us, leading in life and leading in, especially with our families and things like that. Sure.
But you want to go? You want me to answer it?
Go ahead. You can start.
I think some of the biggest challenges for us have been, especially as an interracial couple, being okay with who we are. Okay, and what do I mean by that? Especially in the church ranks or in the church realm, church is still segregated. Martin Luther King Jr. said that church is still the most segregated time of the week, and it still is. So there are times when I know, maybe Carrie's invited to a place or I'm invited to a place. And, we don't just say, hey, my name is Philip and my wife is white. Or, like that's not something that we think about. We don't think about our marriage as an interracial couple from that standpoint. So there are times when, we'll show up and people are looking at us and they're like, oh, I didn't know. But in the church, they still have the church face on. They're the blessed and highly favored, and they're giving you the little church hug, but they didn't know or understand that that's how we are, and that we're in this interracial marriage. So it's always amazing to watch people in the beginning, but then watching when the anointing of God really falls heavy in that place, the same people who are looking very curiously, they're like, wow. So if I'm speaking, 9 times out of 10, Carrie is going to say something, and when she does, like, oh wow, the white lady can preach too, or she can pray, or she and I'm like, y'all didn't know she's much like stronger in the anointing than I am at speaking, at preaching, at all those things. They just don't see it because for whatever reason they invited me. So I think that initially was a challenge for us. We're over it, but I think for other people, it was something that they had to get over. But we had to lead in that, in showing that it's not something that we're afraid of. It's not something that we run from. And I think in leading in that, people were able to say, "Oh wow, people are people." And those two right there, they're good people. And now, I'm watching it, many years later, we've been married 20 years now, but, I'm watching people in these traditional atmospheres or traditional climates from a church perspective. They'll call, I'll just use this example. They'll call and, they're calling you now. You know what I mean? To these traditional places, or calling to seek wisdom and guidance from you. And they look like me. And it's just different. So it just shows that, when you're persistent, when you lead, when you don't back down in those types of environments, people are truly able to see the real you. But more importantly than that, they're able to see the real God. And when you can see the real God, a lot of this stuff, it's
when you
erased.
see God, the color of your skin goes away. If you're really seeing God, the Holy Spirit is the color of water. And so when people see you in the Spirit, that's what they see. They see the transparency, and they see the grace and mercy of God on a person who was once a sinner, but now is a believer.
Absolutely.
I think for me, when I think about this question, I think God in the Old Testament, I think that I'm right, he told Moses not to look at the faces of the people. And that's one of the things that I've had to remember. In order to lead well, you have to realize it's not about the audience.
Right.
It's about it's about the anointing. It's about what God has placed on the inside of you. And so you have to ignore the audience and just put out there what he's given you.
Right.
All of us have been served a plate of something at some point in time. And we looked at that thing and we were like, whoa, what is this? I'll never forget, a dear friend of mine invited me to Palestine which that's like a big area. I can't remember the name of the city. I'm really sorry. But she invited me to come there to experience her wedding.
Yeah.
And boy, I stayed with her family that was Muslim, and they just treated me like so wonderfully. I felt like a part of the family. But one of the meals, I ate swell, y'all. They fed me everywhere I go. Like, they're like Southern people. I'm just telling you. I got smart. Like day 2, I took a bag because I just started putting stuff in my bag. But I forgot there were figs in there, and after a couple of days in that heat, it wasn't too good. But anyways. So one of the things, and it was a very special honor, was that, they ate lamb.
Yeah.
And
I remember telling me about this.
But they eat the whole lamb.
Yeah.
Again,
all of it.
They Southern, y'all. They're Southern.
From the rooter to the tutor.
Yes. And the head.
All of it.
Eyeballs, from the shed.
All of it. Yeah.
So the head of this lamb is on the plate, y'all. And I just couldn't. Yeah, I just couldn't, and I didn't want to be offensive. And so I share that experience to say that you have to get over the presentation.
Right.
And that I have, if I can't get over my own presentation, then I won't be able to deliver what God has called me to deliver.
That's good.
And so I just can't look at the faces of the people. Yeah. I have to stay connected with God in order to lead well and to stay in his presence. Otherwise, I will let fear, I will let judgment, I will let other people's expectation lead me away from leading in the direction and saying and doing what I have been called in that moment to say and to do. Right. So I can't get caught up in what it looks like or even what I look like being different. And that has been hard because, there have been times, we have been together 28 years. Yeah. And so there have been times and seasons where I was maybe less confident in my identity and trying to deal in certain situations. And I found myself assimilating and going away from who I was.
Right.
And my being. And listen to me, if you're going to lead well, you have to lead with authenticity.
That's right.
Leading well means just being authentically you.
Yes.
In every situation and every circumstance, because God created you uniquely for even that moment. If he brought you into that situation to lead, to speak, to teach, to whatever it is, you're meant to be there.
That's good.
You and your whole package.
That's good. Being able to definitely bring your entire self and
bring your whole self.
Yeah. That's huge. You know, one additional thing that I will add is, you know, since you talked about bringing your whole self, is understanding how you're wired and how that makeup works. You know, I know even for us, again, even if we take the racial aspect out of it, being able to understand how I'm wired and what I do, and being able to understand how Carrie is wired and how she does what she does, that right there, that's been critical, because there are times, you know, even though we've been together a long time, to where you're like, why did she do that? Or why did he do that? Or what was going on?
Girl, what he do that for?
So being able to understand now, well, this is the way that she's wired. Now, I like, just from an offense standpoint, I can step like, she's not trying to offend me, or I'm not trying to offend her, or what have you, because I understand her and understand how she's wired, and vice versa. So I think that's a big part of that also.
Yeah, that's so important, and that's one of the things that we at Edge and Associates do, is we teach people to understand themselves.
Yeah.
And in first person, and then second person, those in that close circle around them. And that really helps, because it keeps you from taking things personal.
Right.
You know, we're so quick to think that it's personal. It's a personal attack. They meant to do that. They meant to hurt me. And so many times it's not. It's just a reflection of the person and what they're dealing with. And we personalize something that really, it's not about you, boo.
Yeah.
You know, we just try to make everything so personal. And so just step back and, you know, accept people for just the who that they are, and try to learn to understand them and not be offended.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that answered the question.
Absolutely.
We do got another one on here.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. Let me pull this question
There's
up.
two of them, as a matter of fact. Keep going.
Because I saw this one.
Yep, you're getting close. Right
here. Yeah, there we go. Let me go ahead and add this one. This is a good one. Jerem, what's going on, Jerem? In Cartersville, we are definitely gonna have to get together.
Yes, y'all like around the corner,
right up the road from
the
us.
hood right next to us.
We'll come holler at you, or vice versa, my friend. But the question is, what drives your marriage life and keeps you all on one accord?
Yes, God.
Yeah.
I mean, that seems so simplistic, but really, I mean, He's the only thing that can keep us on one accord.
Yeah.
Just staying unified in Him. I can't think of any other unifying force, because God is love, right?
Yeah.
And to understand that just as God sacrificed His only Son that we might be reconciled, that's my job as a wife daily, is to sacrifice what I have, what I bring to the marriage, my strength to cover completely His weaknesses.
Yeah.
And sometimes I have to lend more, and other times He will lend more.
Yeah.
But to me, that's how we stay on one mind and one accord. And then also with that is, and we're going to get into some of this a little bit later when we run out of questions, it's just communicating. I mean, Philip and I, obviously we're on a podcast, but he's actually way more quiet, like in real life. But we communicate intentionally.
Right.
We use some tools and tips and things like that to just, talk.
Right.
Talk about stuff that random.
Yeah.
We just random stuff to help us like constantly like connect. I learned something new about him every day. And I think that's the other thing for us staying on one accord is I believe, listen to me, married people, your spouse has some hidden treasure. And it is your responsibility to find it.
That's good.
There are mysteries within your spouse, and God has intentionally planted them on the inside of you, but it's but it's up to you to discover
That's good.
those treasures and mysteries. in your spouse.
Yeah, I think that is so good. The one thing that I will add to that, staying on one accord is a choice. And one thing that Carrie and we say all the time, especially to married couples who are getting ready to be married, that you have to choose to be in your marriage every single day, right? We talk about things like, oh, well, or let me say it this way. We hear from couples. They will say things like, well, the magic's not there anymore. The spark's gone. I don't know if I love them anymore. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. That's a choice versus right now you are having a feeling. So we have to understand the difference between a feeling and a choice, right? My feeling might say, you know what, I'm tired, I'm frustrated, I'm mad, but I make a choice to say, but I'm in this thing, but I'm going to stay in this thing. I make a choice to be on one accord. I make a choice not to allow division to come in and drive a wedge between my wife and I. I make a choice to do those things, right? So every single day for Carrie and I, to stay on one accord, I make a choice to do everything that I can to show and display that my wife, that I love her, and not love from a word perspective, but love from an action perspective. Because when people can see action, they can understand, and they can allow themselves to be wrapped inside of that, because the action of the choice of love. So the one thing that I will say, especially to married couples, or the folks considering that, how do you stay on one accord? Make a choice to love your spouse. Make a choice to love your significant other, right? Make a choice to do those things, so that when you get married, it's something that happens. Because I promise y'all, after 20 years, people like, I don't get it. It gets better, but the only way that it can get better is if you make a conscious choice every single day. So,
and to that choosing, I just want to add, one of my favorite scriptures is Proverbs 25:28, and it says, a person without self-control is like a city without walls. Or broken down walls. And we know that the walls around a city were meant to defend it, meant to protect it. And so in a marriage, you have to have this sense of self-control. You have to not only understand your behaviors and your inclination for how you're going to react,
right,
but you also need to understand your spouse's behaviors and their inclination. And that's why some of the personality testing and other things that we do with our premaritals, and either people who are in the midst of needing to choose. I won't say crisis, but in the midst of really needing to choose. One of the things that we have to understand is that you have to be stronger than your inclination to react. And that comes through self-control and obedience.
That's good.
And only you can control that. And so many times we take our reactions and we make temporary feelings have permanent consequences because of our reactions.
Yeah.
So our reactions, if they are not under control, make a permanent consequence within our relationship.
That's right.
So I would say, you being connected with the Lord, having your own personal relationship, you working on your self-control, your obedience, all of those sorts of things spill over into your marriage. So never allow your reaction based off of a temporary feeling to become a permanent consequence within your marriage.
Yeah, I love that. Again, but it still goes back to being able to choose. Right? And that's the thing. It's so funny. I know we talk to couples, and I'm like, are you choosing today? Are you making a choice? And I'm just being honest. Making that choice, that ain't easy. But listen, that's what love really is. Go back to 1 Corinthians 13 and read it again, right? Read it again. That's what it speaks about. It talks about how love acts, how love reacts, how love moves, how, and one of my favorite pieces of it, it says, love has no record of wrongdoing, right? Love is not about your feelings, but yet we get caught up in our feelings. Well, they said this, but love has no record of wrongdoing. Well, don't you? No, but love has no record of wrongdoing. It's a choice that we make to continue to move forward and draw our relationship together.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. I saw another question. Well, first of all, I hope that answered the question.
Yeah.
And if we are answering questions today,
let us know.
So definitely let us know if we didn't.
Yeah, and if you're
question.
just joining us, we are answering questions today, burning questions that you've always wanted to know, but maybe never wanted to ask. This is a safe environment for you to ask anything. We're not offended. We're here to help you to love, to lead well.
That's it.
And if we can share some light or insight, that's what we're here to do. I mean, hey, we've lived a life. You've lived a life. We all have things to learn from each other.
I got a good one.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Look,
yeah, I'm ready for this one.
You ready? Okay.
But I like these.
Here it is.
This is like rapid fire.
Macaroni and cheese or collard greens?
I know what you're going to answer.
Mac and cheese all day long, And my cousin David, hey, listen, mac and cheese. Now, not the box mac and cheese. Like, you can't just take the mac and cheese and put it on the stove and just stir it up and let
not Vivito shells and cheese or some knockoff version of that. No.
We gotta have the macaroni and cheese. You gotta put the
real deal.
The little bit of a cream cheese up in that guy. You gotta mix it. You gotta get them right.
Can't be telling all the secrets.
My bad. You gotta get the right noodles. Y'all didn't hear that. You gotta get the right noodles. You gotta put that thing in the oven and let it bake. Put the extra cheese on top. Let it bubble. Right. Let it brown on the. I mean, that's the type of mac and cheese that I'm talking about. Now, I'm gonna say this. Now, I do like my collard greens with a little hot sauce, but if I have to choose, oh man, it's not even a choice.
So I just have to say, my mother-in-law is watching. So the first time I ever had macaroni and cheese cake, I mean, I did, and I'm just gonna go there because I'm a white folk. I can say I don't know no white folk that ever made no macaroni and cheese cake. Like, this thing was like cake, y'all.
Hey,
that macaroni had lost its form. It had lost its form. You had to cut it with a knife, and I said, I'm always trying to, how can I? And I'll never forget, my mother-in-law came down here when we were in this house. Yeah, it hasn't been too long ago, and she was eating the mac and cheese, and she was like, this is better than mine. And I was like,
you made it.
So shout out to Mama Marsha. That was you were the reason. You were the inspiration for that mac and cheese. And now all the kids, all the kids' friends, when they come here, they want that macaroni
and cheese.
The macaroni and cheese cake.
Yeah, yeah.
When the noodle has lost its form. It gave up to the cheese, y'all.
Telling you.
Cheese on anything pretty much is good. But I have to say this. So for the past, 16 years, almost 14, 15, somewhere in there years, I have I've eat a very low carb diet.
Right.
And so I do allow myself some things, but I understand that as an O blood type person, shout out to all the O's, eating things that are white are not that great for me.
Right.
Unless it's meat.
Right.
So sugar's not, it doesn't work well. And that's pretty much for anybody, to be honest. And so I would choose collard greens. However, I cannot master my mother-in-law's collard greens. So if one thing that I would love is just to be able to make them like she makes them, but I would definitely choose the collard green over the mac and cheese.
Well, yeah, I knew you were going to say that. And,
you knew I was going to say, and I don't want the hot sauce. Like, I want to taste the collard green.
Yeah, I hear you. I say the same thing about that mac and cheese. But them collard greens, I do need a little, and the funny thing about that is, I agree with you. You probably don't need the hot sauce. It's just customary. I got to put some hot sauce. It's just customary. I got to do it.
Oh, man. There's just some things. It's like a steak.
I got to
put ketchup on a steak.
I got to do it.
And real steak eaters don't use like Heinz 57 and A1. Y'all tell me if I'm wrong.
This is true.
You put seasoning on there.
You don't need that for a good steak.
No. You put seasoning on there and maybe a pat of butter to hold in the moisture.
Yep.
Y'all, I'm hungry.
Look, I want
but
a
real steak
with
eaters,
some collard greens and macaroni
you
and cheese.
don't put anything on. So that was one of my dad's tests.
What's that?
I don't know if you knew this. So in order to pass the marryable man test, you had to eat a steak properly. He'd be like, all right, he's marriage criteria.
Well,
But he had to learn.
Yeah, because
you don't put nothing on a steak. He had to be rehabilitated, y'all.
I did, because I probably had some ketchup and I wanted mine burnt. How you want your steak cooked?
Burnt. Now, y'all, he orders his medium.
Yeah,
and occasionally medium rare, depending on where we go.
Getting sophisticated.
Absolutely, you are sophisticated.
Every now and again. So what else we got? Let's get some more questions in here, because we can't keep them forever.
All right.
And my brother Sean Davis says,
yes.
I'm a real steak eater.
Yes.
And you are correct.
Thank you.
Sir. Shout out.
Everybody clap your hands. Yes.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Absolutely. That's how you eat a steak. You just a steak.
I could eat steak all day.
Every day.
I was looking at that. By the way, they have this new diet thing. Probably not new, but all they do is eat meat. It's like you're a meatitarian. The carnivore diet. That's what it's called.
Yes,
the carnivore diet, and all they do is eat meat. And I'm not a diet person, but I was like, maybe I can go on that diet right there. Meat all day. Meat what?
You would get tired of it. I promise you.
But for the first week,
how you eat.
For the first week.
Hey, by the way, macaroni and cheesecakes, not meat.
Let's move on.
Okay. Okay.
You got one, or you want me to jump in there?
Oh, okay. Go ahead. So I did find, I do like Focus on the Family. Focus on a Family had a really great article, and it was 9 questions that you should ask your spouse. And there are a lot of things online, different questions that you can ask your spouse, things to just, keep rekindling, keep the lines of communication open. But this article was really great, and we'll post it afterwards. And it was talking about how to ask questions that are not offensive. How are you really feeling? Not how many pounds have you gained? Men, don't ask your wife that question. She may not be your wife.
That's wisdom. That's called wisdom.
And you might be sleeping on the couch. It might be worse. You might be out in the doghouse and the dog might be on the couch. So, but it had some really good pointers about how to ask questions that are framed positively. So you go ahead with your question.
Well, this is the question that I'm going to ask you. I'm gonna ask this one right here, because I think this is a good question to start with. All right. So
you get us in trouble with our parents.
Yeah, I'm going there
because they don't live in this house.
I'm going there with it.
I'm grown. I'm the mama.
So how would you compare yourself as a mother to your own mother?
A mother to my own mother. I cannot hold, and I'm not just saying this, my mom is not on Facebook, and my mom doesn't listen to podcasts. I don't think. She might sometimes listen. I can't hold a candle to my own mom. My mom is the most selfless person, probably to a fault, to be honest. And you know my mom.
I think I know her.
Yeah. You know what I mean. Those of you who are listening on podcasts, you cannot see the look on my face, but you may be able to hear the disdain in my voice. You like that big word? No, I can't hold a candle to my mom. My mom is just such a selfless person. Growing up, my mom, literally, right or wrong, was the glue that literally held everything together. Yeah. Not only for our little family, my sister, my dad, and I mean, we never really had to think or worry or be concerned about anything. Everything was always provided for. My mom carried that whole load. And I never really realized the load that she carried, the worry and the burden and the financial stressors and all of those sorts of things. She carried all of those on her shoulder. And really never did anything for herself. I mean, I can only recall a couple of times, my mom even getting a haircut or anything. And so some of those, all of that kind of was an impression on me. And I think that's part of the reason why I choose to be a servant leader. I believe that before I can lead anything, I must serve. And that even as I lead, I have to lead with the servant's heart. And I believe that's how Jesus was in this earth. But Jesus also took care of himself, and that's why he would go to the mountain and he would seek the Lord and all those sorts of things. And so my dad, I know you didn't ask me about my dad would always say I'm a good example of a bad example. So I learned from the examples of my parents, to, as Pastor Good would say, to eat the chicken and spit out the bones. So I took the good things and tucked them away in my heart and said, this is how I want to lead my life. And so my mom has led that kind of life. My mom literally was, if they, sorry, y'all, they slap you in one cheek, you turn and give them the other. Mm-hmm. You know, if they don't have a coat, you take the one off your back. Mm-hmm. And she did it silently, and she did it privately. Mm-hmm. And no one ever knew. Sometimes to her own mental and personal, you know, demise or anguish or pain. So shout out to my mom, Marla Lanning. You are a real woman, a real servant. And yeah, I appreciate everything that you've done for me. Awesome.
You're trying to get the lump in everybody's throat right now.
Right? So how about you? I know, you know, my husband, I talk to my mom multiple times every day, and I have certain set times that I must call her. She's going to send out the National Guard.
This is true. This is true.
And I think that's so important. And I pray that as my children grow, that I have that, because you have that with your parents.
Yeah.
And I know you always share with people, you know, you don't know what it's like to have a separation between you and God, because you don't have a strong father figure in your life. Your dad has always been that for you.
Yeah.
And you come from that place, and you always are that strong father figure for people as well. So tell us, like, same question for you.
Same question. I would say that you know, my parents, we're all super close. I mean, my parents, my siblings, we're all very close. We've always been close. I think part of that has to do with, you know, my dad being in the military, and in being in the military, we traveled a lot, and many times it was just us.
Yeah.
You know, we were away from family, you know, cousins, grandparents, those kinds of things. So it was just us. So early on, we bonded. I've said this before, but my dad would say in a minute, he said, we may not have a whole bunch of money, but we got a whole lot of love.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, my dad and my mom, you know, they made sure that they poured out that love, not just to my siblings and I, but they poured that same love out to every single person that came into our house or crossed our paths. You know, I mean, it's to the point now to where, you know, people, they see me, and, you know, these are friends that I haven't seen in a long time. You know, after they get done catching up with me, the next question is, how are your parents doing?
Same thing with me.
Because my parents embrace them, and they're good and they're not so good. You know, my parents, you know, we fed them, you know, we might not have only had a Spam sandwich, and some of y'all don't even know what Spam is, but, hey, I'm telling you, we
fry that bad boy up, throw it on some bread.
Fried up, put an egg on it.
It ain't a steak, but it'll do.
And I have a friend, my friend Sean, he came to the house one day, and my mom made a Spam sandwich. And honestly, I didn't know Spam was a bad thing. Like, I didn't.
It's not a bad thing.
Like, but I didn't know it was like looked upon or frowned upon, because we always had it, you know. But Sean was like, I don't know what that was, but that was good. So, I mean, that's just how my parents are. So I know personally for me, I try and strive to be what they are and have been to my siblings, and to be what they are to our children, you know, and to be able to be that type of person to other people, because they're the ones who taught me that. They instilled that. They instilled the smile in me, and how you smile, and how you grind, and how you keep going, and, you know, just how you love and how you really love. Mm-hmm. My parents are some of the most just loving and embracing people. You know, they don't look at the things that the world would look at. They just say, you know what, they're good people, and doggone it, we're going to treat them like good people. So, yeah, I talk to them every day, almost every day. And if I don't talk to them every day, they're going to call me and say, what's wrong? Or why have you not called me? So, and even though we're not, you know, my parents are in Louisville, Kentucky, so we're in Georgia. Even though we're not close,
we're still close.
It still feels like we're very, very close.
So what's one thing you do or say that you said as a young person growing up, I will never do or say, that your parent did or said?
One thing that I now say that I said that I would
or
never
do
say?
that you said you would? My parents do that, and I'm not going to do that.
Oh my gosh, I don't know. I mean, I wanted to emulate them so much. I think one thing that I could think of is I never I'm gonna tell it myself. So my parents, you know, when I was growing up, they were notorious for like calling me to run errands. So
yes,
like,
Lord.
Like we would be like, I'd be like having dinner at Carrie's house, and you know, my mom would call me and she'd be like, "Hey, run to the store and give me a soda real quick." I mean, something that didn't make any sense.
I'm
or,
like,
you know, I'd be at the house in my room. My mom would say like, "Hey, come here for a minute. Go give me some water. Go give me some." I'm like, "But you're like right there." And so I said, I'm not gonna ever do that. But yeah, I find myself doing that with the kids nowadays.
And okay, so that was so foreign to me, y'all. So you can imagine in my teenage girl mind that he just has to randomly leave to get his mama soda.
Oh,
I'm like, I'm not buying that. There's another
so,
girl. I know
funny.
he is cheating. He's cheating, y'all. In my teenage girl brain, I'm like, what in the world? Nobody just does that. Nobody.
That was
but
funny.
Yes, it really was true.
Yeah, that was funny. That was funny.
That's good. That's really good.
How about you?
Oh man. So my dad. So my dad was like, you know, like the heartfelt lecturer. My dad would go so deep.
Oh.
And to be honest, you're like, I have no idea what he just said, but you're over there like, I mean, literally, I knew when I got in trouble, I was just like, I wish somebody in this house just knew how to beat people and get it over with. Just beat me because I did not want my dad to lecture. And so now, yes, I find myself and, you know, I'll just be talking to them. You know.
Oh man, yeah.
So,
yeah.
And I'll be talking like, you know, like I'm Confucius or something. Like, you know,
she is Confucius.
A man is round unless he is square. And they're like,
What
someday you'll understand when you have children.
Yeah, that's a good one right there. Someday you'll understand.
When you have kids, you'll get it. You'll grow up someday and you'll understand.
Oh man.
And meanwhile, you're like in your room like, I have no idea what I just said, but it sounded good.
Yeah. That's a good one. Let's go ahead and answer.
Sean Davis had a question.
Sean Davis had a question. I'm going to put it up on the screen so you can
take a stab at that one.
It said, question for you both. Man, this is a deep one.
Man, look at the list of those.
If you could interview anyone, dead or alive, from this list, who would you choose and why? Jordan B. Peterson, Larry Elder, Thomas Sowell, Ravi Zacharias, Ben Shapiro, Martin Luther King Jr., Smith Wigglesworth, John G. Lake. Or your own choice. Woo! Or your own choice. I mean, that those are like OGs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Super OGs. Kingdom OGs.
Oh man. You want to go first? You want me to go?
Go ahead.
I'm gonna say I'm just gonna take two from Sean's list right now. First of all of them I would love to sit down with. Like I literally would love to sit down with all of them and just have a deep, in-depth conversation, because reading some of the writings that I'm like, man, is this Mark? You know what I mean? Is this Jesus? Like, what is really going on here? Because he must have inspired your words, like for real. But right now I've really started to get into the apologetics and really being able to understand and defend my faith. And as of late, Ravi Zacharias has been just somebody I've been watching videos of. I've been going to YouTube University on Ravi. Rest in peace, Ravi Zacharias. Yeah, but definitely. I just, up until I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's where our world is right now. But I know even growing up, I was one of those people. I was like, God doesn't need me to defend him.
No.
You know, let him do the defending. Let me just be the ambassador and do what I do. But in this world that we live in today, just from an apologetic standpoint, you do have to be able to defend what you believe, or to be able to truly stand on what you
articulate
believe.
It. Right. Be able to. I think people look at the word defense in the wrong sort of way.
Yeah.
But Ravi had just a way of just making things so very plain.
He made it plain,
poignant, powerful,
right,
and open your eyes to see things so different. That's really a very special gift, and the world will miss that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I know for me, that's just that's been something of late that has been a fire in my belly, to be able to go into depths, to be able to bring forth that defense. And more so than even quote unquote defending it, or being able to go and argue with someone. Like, that's not what I'm talking about.
Not to argue.
Literally, it's more for me to be able to truly know and understand why I believe what I believe. Because there's so many people who are being easily swayed nowadays. I mean, like really, especially within the faith. I mean, they're just...
That's what religion will do.
Right. So being able to really be grounded in that, and be able to go to the Word of God and really just look and see what it says for myself first, I think has been a big thing. And then again, just with everything going on, I would love to sit down with MLK Jr.
You took mine.
You know, and not probably for what people think, you know. People, you know, they may want to know about the nonviolent. I want to know. I want to say, what conversations did you and the Lord have? Like, I really want to sit down and be like, where did you even come up with some of the things you came up with? You know, you're in the jail writing on toilet tissue. You know what I'm saying? Like, literally, you're writing this like speech that's like, how in the world, and what is going on? You know, what would you say to people nowadays? How can you work and share with us how we bring people together, as opposed to living this separated lifestyle? You know what I mean? So I would really love to do those kinds of things. But what about you?
Yeah, those two, actually, it's funny because those are the two that really like popped out at me. But you know, in this season and time, in this moment, you know, I would love to sit down with MLK Jr.
Yeah.
But the thing I would want to know, I in my heart, I have, I want to know what it's like in the heart of a passionate revolutionary. Because I've always felt drawn to be, you know, my dad always said, you know, girl, you walk to the beat of a different drummer. And just embracing that when God puts something, you know, just so heavy on you. To just, how do you sustain that fire, that passion,
right,
for the things that God has called you to do and to push.
That's good.
You know, and then also just my other curiosity is like, what's that home life like?
Yeah.
You know, what was the family like? What was the family culture like? What were those conversations with his wife? You know, what were the fears? You know, where was the encouragement? Where was the motivation outside of even God? You know, just the real life. You know, sometimes we don't see the real.
The real, yeah.
And obviously we're all about the real.
Yeah.
But I just seeing the real, like, show me your heart, expose to me the heart of a passionate revolutionary. What kept you going? What kept the fire burning? For, you know, what God had laid on your heart about bringing racial equality and bringing people together, you know, and to not, you know, be embittered or to come from a place of anger, because even in these times, I found myself, you know, pushing down feelings of bitterness or anger, you know, when you see injustice in any kind of area in the world. What kind of heart, you know? That's good. So,
that's good.
Wigglesworth.
Hey, Smith Wigglesworth is a dope one, man.
Read him and you'll be sitting there like scratching your head like, huh?
Woo-hoo. I'm telling you.
Man,
I'm telling you.
That's a good list right there.
Well, listen. We have thoroughly enjoyed you
Man,
all
this was
today.
so good.
We may need to come back and do a part 2.
Yeah.
I mean,
y'all need to
we may need to do a part 2 on this. Yeah, definitely. Write some good questions down because this was good. This was good. We hope you all enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed it on today. And y'all know, man, we're gonna be back here 8 o'clock Eastern time next Sunday, next fun day, and let you know what we do and how we do it within the Edge Life.
That's right.
That's what we got for you.
It's all real.
God bless y'all, man. Make sure you share this out. Make sure you share that because somebody need to see it. That's what I know. Somebody need to see it.
Until we see you again, live and lead well, y'all.
God bless y'all.
God bless you.
Peace.
Peace.
You know we had to cap it off with Jesus. Edge life, you're too close to the ledge. We gon' push you forward a few steps ahead. It's that edge life. Oh, gotta get it in your head, baby. Welcome to the edge life. You're too close to the ledge. We gon' push you forward a few steps ahead. It's that edge life.